Hey everyone, Mark Kwok here. Today I want to talk about cooking because it has been an obsession of mine over the last several months. I've been cooking a lot, just getting into it. I have 5 recommendations here, things that have kind of changed the game for me while cooking. So the first thing is something that I think many kitchens have, and it's called a scraper. This is by OXO, they make a ton of stuff. I'm sure if you are into cooking or bartending or anything like that, you're gonna undoubtedly have some of the stuff from OXO. So what exactly is this scraper? Well, it's quite simple, and honestly, you could probably just use your hands, but let's say you chop up a bunch of vegetables and you wanna get that into a pot. This is what helps you just kind of put your hand in here and then your scraper here, and then you pick it up and then you can put it into your pot. It also helps you clean things by taking just debris and like getting debris off the table or whatever. You can actually use this with like, let's say pizza dough or something like that where you wanna slice it. This also works too. Just a really multi-purpose, all awesome thing that's not that expensive and I think will make a big difference in your kitchen. Number 2 is a wok, a proper wok. This is 14 inches, I believe. I'm obsessed with it. This is by Joyce Chen. There are others out there. Basically, what's the benefit of a wok? Well, you can have, it's big, that's for sure. It gets real hot, and it's also easy to kind of maintain because you're not actually cleaning it the same way. There's a lot of other benefits to wok cooking, but I'm not an expert, but I will say, I just use this all the time. Now, any stir fry, any sort of, there's just so many recipes that a wok could be useful for, and so I highly recommend getting one. I will say there is a process to seasoning this, which is a whole thing. You can look it up on YouTube, you can look it up online, but that's the one thing that is you should prepare for before you begin with this. But once you get it, man, you will be using this constantly. Highly recommend it. All right, next, this is a cutting board. This is a wooden block cutting board from John Booz. And man, I mean, this is heavy, it's thick. Look at this thing, it's a beast. And it was a recommendation from a video I saw from David Chang, the chef. So why get this bad boy, and is it worth it? I mean, this thing is monstrous, it's huge. It also is very expensive. I was only able to get this because it was on a massive sale, but these things could go from, you know, 150 to 200, 300 bucks just for a big slab of wood. However, even with all that said, this thing just makes you feel amazing when you're cooking and chopping. The surface area alone is so big, it's so strong and structured, it's not just like an easy piece of wood. I mean, I will say, you know, this is not necessary. This is only if you want to elevate and kind of use what the pros use. This thing is awesome. The experience of cutting on it is so big that you can cut like onions on one side, garlic in the other, scallions on one side. Couple cons though, I will say. Number 1, it's not easy to maintain per se because you need to do a couple things. 1, you need to figure out how to wash it, and it's so big you don't just put it in the sink and wash it normally or put it in the dishwasher. 2nd, you do need to maintain it. So there are these things, these oils and pastes and things like that that you actually have to buy to help maintain this so this doesn't crack and so on. If you do those things though, I do believe this will last you a long, long time and you get a ton of use out of it. Okay, these last 2 pieces are really about aesthetics, I'd say, but they make a difference for me. This one is what we call a salt cellar. There is a door hatch, and then there's salt inside. Surprise. This box makes salt so much easier to use. Like, you use pinches of salt, you can just open it real quick, and then boom, put salt here, there. Salt is one of the most used things in all of cooking, and so having it easily accessible and not having to shake it like this or like pull out a bag. This also looks great on a table or on the counter. So I invested in it and I'm happy. Honestly, it's not really necessary. As I mentioned, it's more for aesthetics and just like shows that, hey, you're taking your kitchen a bit seriously. And lastly, if you got salt, you got pepper. So the pepper mill, I mean, this one's by Puget. If you have like, let's say, just any peppercorns, put them in here and you can be able to kind of adjust accordingly. Big pepper flakes, small pepper flakes, all of that stuff is up to you. This also looks fantastic, and it just makes it a joy to use when you're, you know, topping things off with pepper at the very end. It's just badass to have something that's more like wooden and cool looking and sturdy and so on. So this is one, I think this one is quite popular. I do recommend it. I think there are others that you could get as well, but my experience has been nothing but positive for Puget as well. So there you go, 5 different items that I have elevated to in the kitchen. And I think if you're willing to kind of go that next step in terms of your culinary experiences, these are awesome things to get. Highly recommended from me. Up your kitchen game, and let me know if you have any questions. Thanks so much for watching. My name is Mark Kwok. I'll see you guys on the next one.